Hello everyone, the Green Scorpion here, and for the final week of Weapons Month 2, we're trying something a little different. Many of you have asked me who the best gun wielders in gaming are. Frankly, guns are way too large a category in the world of video games. But I don't like to disappoint my fans, so I narrowed it down to my personal favorite gun in gaming, the sniper rifle. Why fight a battle when you can stay on a safe ledge and off your enemy with a single click? If you don't like being in the thick of things and prefer clever use of landscape off a level, sniping might be your calling. It's not for everyone, however. It takes patience, dexterity, and a steady finger on the controller or mouse. At least in first-person shooter games. As you'll find, many of my favorite snipers hail from all sorts of other genres. Still, the bases are the same. They have killer range and deadly precision, and although in real life a point-blank shot from a sniper rifle will blow your neck off your shoulders, video game snipers have trouble at close range, meaning they either need to be good at keeping away or have tactics to fight or escape up close. A few quick ground rules. We are looking at characters, though I want to give an honorable mention to all of you Counter-Strikers out there who mastered no-scoping and made the online world fear the snipers. Also, though some people such as Sheenon and Gordon Freeman are considered snipers, we aren't looking for people who use bows and arrows. We did that already. But let's not stand here too long. They may be watching. This is the top 10 greatest video game snipers. As usual, only games I've played and only one per franchise. Let the final countdown of Weapons Month 2 begin! To start off this countdown, let's look at these four from Dead Rising 2. They are known as the Hunters: Dietz Hartman, Derek Dugan, Big Earl Flaherty, and Johnny James. When a zombie horde breaks out in Fortune City, these four can be found on the rooftops firing down at both zombies and survivors. We first get a nice cutscene of them where they vow to punish all of the people who let America lose its valor in a not-so-subtle jab at militant Republicans.
If you ain't with us, you're against us.
You're either with us or you're with the enemy. That's clear.
Okay, Capcom, let's not get into politics here. This is, after all, a game where you kill zombies with chainsaws taped to rowing oars. Let's just comment on the hunters themselves. Screw these guys! With zombies everywhere, why do they choose to fire at Chuck Green, who's running around rescuing people? They're similar to the Hall family from the first Dead Rising, but at least the Halls were acting out of self-defense. The guys just want to kill people. You'll be clearing a path through the zombies for some survivors when all of a sudden, bam! Your survivors are dead. And you're next! And after the third day, when the place gets gassed, creating super zombies, they're still there! They still would rather kill Chuck Green than get to safety. And they're accurate too! You can get your own rifle and try to outsnipe them, but if you can see them, they'll see you, and it's going to be hard to outlast them before zombies come and close in on your area. Chuck's best bet is to climb onto the rooftops and take them out at close range. But unlike you, they fight just fine up close with their rifles and take 2 blocks off your life with each hit. I don't know who's worse, them or the roof snipers from Dick Tracy. Death isn't good enough for these jerks. I hope the zombies learn how to climb ladders. In Megaman Battle Network, every electronic device is connected to the internet, and rather than cell phones, people have individualized characters named NetNavis who help them with various tasks. But with so much internet dependence, viruses have become a major form of terrorism, and it takes elite duos to keep the world safe, like Lan and Megaman, or Raika and Searchman. Lan meets Raika in Megaman Battle Network 4 at the Red Sun tournament. Raika has come as a lieutenant to represent his country Sharo and show off its military prowess. He is cold and calculating, and dismisses Lan as a minor threat. Though Megaman and Lan behave more like best friends, Searchman looks and plays the part of a soldier to Raika's orders. His search rifle is said to be able to delete viruses in different servers. This is shown more in the anime, but I don't know that too many people ever watch that. Though I like Searchman, his design, and his no-nonsense demeanor, it's unfortunate that his abilities as a marksman were only ever implied. In-game battles, he can throw grenades and use satellite lasers. But on the 6x3 grid battlefields, he only has one move that really lets him snipe. And that gets even tougher if you use the area grab chip. He returned with Raika in Battle Network 5 as a member of Proto Man's crime-fighting team, and a misunderstanding gives Megaman the chance to fight him again. but it's largely the same. It's a shame, there's something I really like about him too. But when he's not getting cheap deaths against Megaman, he's got his sights fixed on viruses all over the internet. Man, I really wish I had him instead of my crappy antivirus software. Kardel Sharpeye is a hero in Defense of the Ancients, which, as you may know from watching my other videos, started as a mod of Warcraft 3. The real-time strategy had a unit in the human army named the Riflemen. These units were dwarves armed with blunderbuss rifles, which, of course, were ahead of their time in the world of Azeroth. These infantry were great, but the Defense of the Ancients mod took the Rifleman model and used it for a hero called Dwarven Sniper. At least, that was the title. His name was actually Kardel Sharpeye, but gamers usually called him by his race and class. Sure, it still looks like a blunderbuss, but with the highest attack range in the game, Sniper is definitely appropriate. When Dota 2 came along as its own entity, separate from Warcraft, Kardel came with all of his abilities intact. Only now he has a new look and is no longer a dwarf. I guess I didn't want anyone suing. Kardel isn't very ability focused, preferring to shoot down whatever he needs to. Two of his abilities, Headshot and Take Aim, passively increase his range and give him random chances for bonus damage. With Take Aim maxed out, he can shoot down a tower while out of its sight, making him a great lane pusher. His other ability, Shrapnel, fires a cloud of jagged metal from a secondary barrel of his gun, making an area on the ground that damages and slows enemies who pass through it. And his ultimate, Assassinate, basically lets him do an insane amount of damage to a visible enemy from anywhere on the map. And because he's an agility champion, most players build him with items that increase attack speed, making him a rapid-fire railgun. He was actually one of my favorites when I used to play Dota, and his successor is one of my favorites in a similar game I play now. Maybe you've heard of it? Well, we'll get there later, so hold that thought. Let me just start by saying this. Irvine Kinneas studies at Galbadia Garden and graduated as a sharpshooter. He majored in sharpshooting! How many credits does that take? Is there a sharpshooting minor? Because I'm looking to straighten my resume. Anyway, Irvine is actually a master of firearms in general, but joined Squall in Final Fantasy VIII when the team needs a sniper to take out Sorceress Edea. There are two main character tropes when it comes to snipers. There's a friendly sniper who looks at his work as a game or as a way to take care of his buddies, such as Kardel or Captain McMillan from Modern Warfare. And then there's the cold sniper, who's killed so many people and literally distanced himself from everything so that he has little to no emotion, such as Searchman or Shinon. Irvine somehow comprises both, and in that way is probably the most fascinating character in the game, certainly more so than Emo Squall or Brainless Zell and Selfie. When he first joins the party, he's kind of ostracized by Squall and, well, by himself. He's a ladies' man and hits on all the women with his loneliness of a sniper routine. But if you take the time to talk to him at points, you'll find that he really buys into that he's alone. So when his moment comes to take a shot and he chokes, realizing that he, and in fact the entire party, has a connection to this sorceress, he feels genuinely bad and wants to help the group. His characterization is out of the forefront and best found by talking to NPCs during his segments or having Squall talk to him on the boat. In a prolonged segment between missions, he even organized a shindig to lift everyone's spirits and bring Squall and Renoa together. He may have missed his shot at Edea, but this cowboy makes a good wingman. But let's talk about his combat abilities. Or at least, let's try. The junction system in Final Fantasy VIII makes it so that all the characters are basically interchangeable, depending on what magic you've junctioned to them. The only differences are in the weapons and limit breaks. Irvine proudly flaunts his PhD with a rifle that, at the game's convenience, is either a sniper or a shotgun at any given time. Maybe it's both. I mean, Squall has a gunblade. His limit break shot gets more powerful the more times you mash the R1 button in an allotted time, so Irvine's got to be quick with his trigger finger but swift with his aim. There's not really much more to say, except that I really like how this guy goes from the outcast on the rooftops to the heart of the group. Another Halo character! How about that? Well, it is about time we put a first-person shooter on a list about sniping, right? Halo Reach is a very melancholy prequel to the original Halo. since all of the fans know that things on Reach don't turn out too well. The game follows the Noble team, made up of you and a group of lovable soldiers who take turns dying dramatically throughout the course of the game. One member of this team is June 8266, or Noble 3, the team's tactical specialist. While you're in the thick of it with Emil and George, June's keeping an eye on things from above. And man, he never shuts up! His psychological reports from the UNSC dictate a disconcerting detachment from the lives of his comrades, which makes sense since he's far away from it. But those close to him prefer to say that he just keeps a level head while he's under pressure. Throughout missions, he'll give you lots of intel on the surrounding area, and more likely than not will take out a fair share of brutes and grunts before you have the time to cower from them. He can be a little chatty over the radio, which annoys his superiors, but he gets away with it because most of his banter is actually extremely pertinent information that guides Noble Team through missions. He's the radio helper done right, and he's more than a disembodied voice. He's a source of disembodied heads. Also, he's the only one on the team who might have actually survived. At least we can't say that for sure. He leaves Sword Base on a convoy, but then he's never heard from him again, even in the Halo sequels. Is there a plan for him to return in Halo 5 or 6 perhaps? Well, anyway, I think this guy is justified if he really has his disregard for the team. It's a defense for him. Think how hard it must be for him to watch so many of his good friends die while he stands around and watches. Unfortunately, that's his job, and at least he can keep a sense of humor while doing it. Metroid Prime Hunters for the DS was pretty disappointing for its poorly conceived single-player campaign, but it laid the groundwork for what could have been a great online first-person shooter franchise. Samus' 6 new rivals are very diverse and have their own styles. The fan favorite by far was Trace, a parasite of the Kraken Empire searching for the treasure of the Alembic Cluster so that he may use it to feed more worlds to his ravenous race. Cheap as hell is the first thing that comes to mind with this guy. Each character has a specialty secondary weapon, and Trace's is the Imperialist, a long-range laser that basically kills anything with a good headshot. Trace's arm may not be a rifle per se, but Trace is certainly a sniper, so I'm counting him. If Trace can just find a good vantage point, he's set. The zoom in on his weapon makes lining up shots much easier, and even if he grazes their body, it's still a good bit of damage. The problem with the laser is that it leads enemies right to him. But Trace has 2 natural defenses for this that no other hunter can boast. 1. He turns invisible while standing still. Even if Samus or Cannon tracks him to his platform, it will still take some observation to pick him out. Meanwhile, Trace can hit them at point blank with the Imperialists and send them the way of the Chozo. 2. His alternate form. Just as Samus has the Morph Ball, every hunter has an alternate form for more close quarters battle. Trace contorts himself into the Triskelion, a tripod-like insect that can lunge at enemies and rip them apart, or just lunge away and find a new place to hide and snipe. I always found it interesting how Trace kinda looks like the Alembic spirits Samus meets at the end of the game. Also, in Triskelion mode, he greatly resembles the Aang from Metroid Prime 2. Probably a coincidence, but given Weevil's ties to the Space Pirates and Sylex's ties to the Federation, it is possible that Trace has more significance in the Metroid universe than meets the eye. Well, we'll probably never know now since the Metroid Prime trilogy is being faded out of continuity, and Hunters was a spin-off of Metroid Prime to begin with. And sure, Gorea kind of absorbed him with the other rival Hunters, but if Ridley can come back 20 times, why doesn't Trace get a redo? I wouldn't mind seeing any other Hunters back again. It never really made sense that they would have teamed up in the end anyway. From their backstories, Noxus and Spire probably would have sided with Samus if they had the chance to talk it out. And Trace doesn't seem like the rational thinker to be bargaining with people. But maybe that's just me. I guess it isn't such a loss if I stop getting insta-killed by the Crimson Beans out of nowhere. If there was ever a character that made the player feel like they were a tried and true sniper, it's this guy. Agent Falcon is an agent under the United States anti-terrorist group that is deemed to be the greatest sniper in the world. Anyone who has been to the arcades will most likely recognize this game. Among the lights of the DDR and Time Crisis machines, the Silent Scope arcade game was unique in that the controller was actually a sniper rifle, complete with zoom and scope. The player would have to look at the screen to see the enemy locations and then proceed to look into the scope to line up the perfect shot. Agent Falcon is the character that is portrayed to be behind the virtual sniper rifle in the games. In the first Silent Scope, he is called to save the president and several other hostages from a terrorist group. In Silent Scope 2, Dark Silhouette, Falcon sets out to stop the terrorists from obtaining biological weapons and releasing them into the free world. And finally, in Silent Scope 3, the terrorists are plotting to steal top-secret cloning technology, and it's up to him to put a stop to them. Agent Falcon doesn't really have a personality or backstory to speak of, but his sniping skills are spectacular. He is able to line up headshot after headshot even when under fire. However, what puts Agent Falcon on this list is that he is the vessel for gamers that want true one-on-one sniping action. Being able to plow through the game while feeling like you're actually wielding a sniper rifle is a joy, which ultimately merits Agent Falcon's reputation. You take out the targets, you save the hostages, and you help Agent Falcon stop the terrorists from completing their plans. You are Agent Falcon, the greatest sniper in the world, as well as the number 4 sniper on this list. Obligatory League of Legends character! When I said that Kardel Sharpeye inspired a future character, I of course was referring to Caitlyn, the Sheriff of Piltover. I talked about Piltover and how Jace now defends it from the other countries, but long before he came in, Caitlyn was keeping the streets clean of organized crime. Having made Piltover one of the safest havens in Runeterra, she now uses her detective work to hunt down a mysterious cat burglar that has been robbing Demacia blind, and has entered the League of Legends to get more clues. In-game, Caitlyn is an AD carry, much like Ashe and Draven, and in my opinion one of the best due to her range and damage output. Her passive makes every 7th shot she fires a headshot, dealing critical damage. Piltover Peacemaker is a skill shot that fires through multiple enemies for damage, scaling off her increasing attack damage stat. It takes a second to wind up, but a good player can land them with practice. Yordle snap traps can be planted to damage, stun, and reveal enemies who walk into them. They're perfect for cutting off gank entrances and stopping enemies to line up the Peacemaker shot. The 90 caliber net can be fired to slow enemies, but that's not why pros use it. It's really the knockback that Caitlyn gets when firing it. Shooting off the net is a great way to slip Caitlyn out of dangerous situations. Her ultimate is Ace in the Hole, a high-ranged lock-on move. It may not have the same range as Sharpeye's Assassinate, but it's a highly lethal shot and has the satisfying effect of lining up the sight before firing. Sharpeye does actually have better range and is overall more exploitable than Caitlyn, so why do I have him all the way at number 7 and Caitlyn at number 3? Well, a few reasons. First, I think League of Legends is just a better designed game than Defense of the Ancients, and as a result, Caitlyn plays a whole lot better than Sharpeye. Sorry if you disagree, but that's just my opinion. Second, I prefer Caitlyn's design. I'm not too sure why she got all of her outfits at Hot Topic, but the Mad Hatter look is king of cool, and it makes her very palpable among the many diverse faces of League. Plus, I love her rifle. Runeterra exists in one of those quasi-medieval time periods where magic is being used to make limited but awesome advances in technology. Caitlyn's rifle looks like a prototype, and even falls apart when she taunts someone, but it's just so cool. All the magnifying lenses and the adjustable tubing, it's a tinker's dream. And if you look closely, she isn't firing bullets, she's firing cogs, which are a symbol of Piltover, it being the city of progress. Finally, I think making her a tough, brilliant detective is much more interesting than a dwarf mechanic who, because of legal reasons, loses the dwarf part. Foxy, functional, and great at carrying, Caitlyn is a great sniper, and also happens to be one of my co-writers' favorite champions.
I beg of you, grant me the strength to take this final prey.
This is the end. Not what I meant! This guy's name is the End, and he's a member of the Cobra unit. The End is 104 years of age when Naked Snake confronts him, and it's said that all modern sniping techniques are originated by him. The boss battle with him in Metal Gear Solid 3 is one of the most unique and greatest battles ever conceived. It's a sniper duel. There's no music, no arena, you're just two men in the forest of Socraveno, armed to kill. Well actually, the End doesn't want to kill you. He's been resting up for this fight, knowing that either way it will be his last, and is armed with the Mosin Nagant tranquilizer rifle. If he hits Snake enough times, Snake just passes out and he gets thrown back in prison. The End is so good at sniping that it borders on supernatural. He can stay in the same place for hours or even days without having to move or stretch, and it's rumored that he can actually heal his wounds with photosynthesis. He is prone to falling asleep in his old age, but he's trained an Alexandrine parrot to act as his spotter, and that's awesome! He has also learned to regulate his body temperature to match his surrounding foliage, making him difficult to track even with the thermal goggles. There's a lot of ways to go about this duel. You can try to counter-snipe him, if you like darts in your eyes. You can also use a microphone to listen to his breathing, though even that is tough. One of the best ways is to capture his parrot while it's scouting. If you let it go, it will usually fly back to him. Or you can eat it to make him mad. Even getting up to him, he's a slippery old geezer and will use stun grenades to get away if you give him a chance. You can even wait him out for a week for him to die of old age, or snipe him in an earlier mission while he's in his wheelchair. You terrible human being. Some random awesomeness points, he can pop his eyes out really far. He has false teeth, the moss around him turns brown when he's dying, and he can drug you from 3,000 yards away. He'll even sneak up on you if you sit still for too long. Though he dies in Snake Eater, he leaves a very big impression on Naked Snake even once he's become the new big boss. In Metal Gear Solid Peace Walker, you can revisit Socraveno, and if you tune into the radio frequency 000.00, you can actually make out his ghost talking to you. Ever the paranoid one, Big Boss will ask his men if anyone in the enemy ranks keeps parrots, or if they think it's possible for a man to be photosynthetic. It's the old man's honor that tips a scale for him. He's too tired to care about politics or wars anymore. He just wants one last hunt before he shuffles off the mortal coil. You know what? He deserves it. Now the only question is, who could possibly beat him? The top 10 video game snipers has almost reached the finale, but before we get there, let's recap. Number 10, The Hunters. Number 9, Searchman. Number 8, Kardel Sharpeye. Number 7, Irvine Kineas. Number 6, June 8266. Number 5, Trace. Number 4, Agent Falcon. Number 3, Caitlyn. And number 2, The End.
Nice try, mate, but I'm the best.
Who else could it have been? I love Caitlyn. The End is amazing, but no one is more worthy of the title of the #1 greatest sniper than the Sniper. I mean, his name is just the Sniper. It's his life, it's his personality, it's his entire being. Team Fortress 2 was revolutionary not just for its incredible balanced character class system and great mechanics, Counter-Strike already had those, it was the personality and humor put into every one of those 9 miscreant mercenaries. The Sniper is an Australian game hunter gone crazed gunman.
Not a crazed gunman, Dad. I'm an assassin.
Oh, I'm sorry, hired assassin. And among the ranks of the narcissistic scout, the simple-minded heavy, and the ultra-suave spy, and a number of completely crazy professional killers, the Sniper is kind of the straight man, which due to some brilliant quip writing, still makes him hilarious.
Sorry there, nurse. I mistook you for an actual threat.
He's patient, diligent, and friendly to his teammates. He even has his own code of sniping honor. His Meet the Video really puts his entire caricature together nicely. And while other first-person shooters have sniper rifles, playing the Team Fortress 2 Sniper gives you an arsenal entirely centered around sniping. There's his trusty sniper rifle, and then the upper hand, and then there's a Sydney sleeper that applies Girardi on its targets, I'll explain that in a second. The bizarre bargain for real pros that gets more powerful with successive headshots, the Machina which fires through multiple enemies in a similar fashion to Trace's Imperialist, and the Hitman's Heatmaker, which is based on building focus. There's even the Huntsman if you prefer sniping with arrows. That's a lot of options for sniping, but that's not all. The Sniper has a myriad of secondary equipment to customize his loadout. The most amusing, of course, is Girardi. What's Girardi? Well, let's just say the Sniper doesn't have time for relief when on the field of battle, so he keeps his handy jar. It can put out fires, reveal cloaked spies, and make soaked enemies extra susceptible to pain, and all the while just humiliating them and ruining their day. The less vulgar might prefer a submachine gun for mid-range combat, or the Razorback, a shield that protects the sniper from his worst enemy, the backstabbing spy. So even if someone does get up to you when you're the sniper, you have options. You can just channel your inner counter-striker and no-scope them to death. You can go at them with one of the sniper's exotic knives, you can switch to the SMG, or you can cover them with recycled urine. And with the Darwin hat, he's even somewhat immune to counter-sniping. Here's the real kicker though. Most of the characters on these lists are from a variety of genres. Survival horror, third-person action, RPGs, even June, who's from a first-person shooter, isn't a playable character, and Trace, though controllable, isn't a classic sniper. Playing this character puts the gamer on the field with only a rifle, your wits, and a few extraneous items. In a balanced game like Team Fortress 2, the character is only as good as the player, and folks, there are some ridiculous snipers on these servers! No one character in video games can snipe as well as a honed gamer, and while Agent Falcon may fit the role as a vessel for the aspiring gaming sniper, the sniper is not only a great personality, but a great vessel for those skills, making him the #1 greatest sniper in gaming history. I hope you guys enjoyed Weapons Month 2. Until next time.
Feelings? Look, mate, you know it has a lot of feelings. Blokes were bludgeoning their wife to death with a golf trophy. Professionals have standards. Be polite. Be efficient. Have a plan to kill everyone you meet.
Hey John, what's up? I'm alright, man. Did you see the last countdown? Dude, I really have to thank you. You helped me a lot with these countdowns. Yeah, seriously, doing these by myself would be nigh impossible. Well, these were your ideas to begin with. Well, regardless, thanks a lot, man. It was a huge help. I've actually decided I'm going to take a break from countdowns. Yeah, Weapons Month 2 took a lot out of me, not to mention school started up again. Probably not until mid-March or something? Well, no, I do have Let's Plays to catch up on, and I may do another Q&A soon. I've been slacking on those. Yeah. Yeah, basically. Weapons Month 3? I don't know if I will, honestly. If I do, it won't be for a good long while. Yeah, definitely. Alright, I'll keep you posted. Yep, sounds good. Anyway, thanks again, man. Couldn't have done it without you. Yeah, that's pretty much what I wanted to say. Awesome. Catch you around spring break? Sweet. Alright then. See ya, Hoffman.